health problems. Hi, Ellen. What's the matter with you?
I think I've got a terrible cold. My nose is stuffed up, and I've got a sore throat.
Oh, that's too bad. You should be at home in bed. It's really important to get a good rest.
Yeah, you're right.
And have you taken anything for it?
No, I haven't.
Well, you should take some vitamin C, and it's also a good idea to drink lots of liquids.
That's a good suggestion. I've a bottle of vitamin C at home.
Have you seen a doctor?
Not yet.
Well, you'd better see a doctor first, and then go back home to rest.
Yeah, I'll do it right now.
Ellen, it's also helpful to cook chicken soup with some garlic in it, and drink a cup every half an hour. It really works.
Oh, chicken stock for a cold? Okay, I'll try it. Thanks.
I hope you recover soon.
In the restaurant.
Good evening. Would you like to order now?
Just a moment. Can we see what you've got on the menu first? There is quite a good choice on the menu, isn't there, dear?
Yes.
Do you want to order first?
All right. I think I'll start with some apple juice. But I can't decide whether to have salmon or roast beef. I remember I had fish last time we were here, so I'll try the roast beef. And yes, and some carrots.
What about the sweet?
Well, we can order that later. But I think I'll have some fruit salad.
Shall I order some wine to go with the meal?
Yes, that would be nice. So, what are you going to have?
I'll start with chicken soup. And I love fish, so I think I'll have salmon and some peas.
What are you going to choose for dessert?
I think I'll have chocolate cake.
At the reception desk in a hotel.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. My name is Arthur Collins. I believe you have a room reserved for me.
Just a moment, Mr. Collins. Let me see. Collins. Yes. Mr. Collins, you booked a single room 3 days ago. Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
Mr. Collins, your room number is 405 on the 4th floor. Would you fill in this form, please?
Certainly.
How long do you intend to stay in the hotel, Mr. Collins?
Let me see. Today is Monday, and probably am going to leave on Friday morning.
On Friday morning, I see.
Oh, excuse me. Where shall I put my passport number?
Just at the bottom. That's right. Thank you.
Oh, would you please wake me up at 7:10 in the morning, please?
7:10. Certainly. Porter, please take Mr. Collins' suitcase to his room. Mr. Collins, please follow him.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Trip to Stonehenge. Hi, Sue. How was your weekend?
Oh, really good. I went to Stonehenge with my host family.
Stonehenge?
Yes, that's right. Have you ever been there?
Yes, I went there last month. I really enjoyed it.
Me too. Stonehenge is the best known and probably the most remarkable of prehistoric remains in the UK.
Yes, it has stood on Salisbury Plain for about 4,000 years. You know, there have been many different theories about its original use.
Yes, I know. My host father told me that one of the theories is that it was a place from where stars and planets could be observed.
Yes, but no one is really certain why it was built. One of the things people have discovered is the positions of some of the stones relate to the movements of the sun and moon, so that the stones could be used as a calendar.
That's interesting.
Did you go to Oxford too? It's not far from Stonehenge.
No, we didn't because of the time. My host family had to be back before 3 in the afternoon.
Oh, what a pity. You should go sometime. It's very interesting too.
Yes, I hope I can sometime.
Marriage.
Hello, Steve. Have you read this article?
Not yet. What is in it?
There are some facts about families in the United States. It says that 50% of marriages end in divorce in the United States.
That's quite high, isn't it? Do many people get divorced in Korea?
No, most Korean couples stay together.
Families are sure different in America.
Well, there are more divorces, but what else is different?
Well, I think people get married younger.
How much younger?
Oh, I think some people get married before the age of 20.
Really? What else?
A lot of women work after they get married, and I think most women who have babies go back to work fairly soon, too.
Yes, according to the survey, 50% of American working women return to work within a year of having a baby.
Do women in Korea usually work after they get married?
No, a lot of women stay at home and take care of their families, but a few work.
I see. Here are some more figures. It says 67% of women with children work, and 57% of children under 6 have two parents who work or a single parent who works.
Computing service. Excuse me, could you tell me where the university computer lab is?
Are you a new student?
Yes, I'm a first-year student. I want to use a computer to type my assignment.
I see. Our university provides the most up-to-date computing environment of any college or university in Britain. There are 2 labs dedicated to student access. No classes are scheduled in them, so you can drop in any time when they are open.
Do you know where these 2 labs are?
Yes. One is in room 114 in building 315, and the other one is in room 110 in building 335. There are 27 computers in each one.
Only 27 are in each one. Are there any other labs I can use if these 2 labs are full?
Yes, we own 6 general-purpose labs, which often have classes booked in them, but they are available for drop-in use when classes are not in session. Check the lab before you go in. This schedule is updated every week.
I saw the brochure in the Students' Union. It said that there are at least 19 labs on campus.
Yes, there are 11 other large labs on campus, but they have dedicated uses of various kinds and are not usually available for general use.
Do you know if there are any rules in the labs?
Yes, we do have some rules.
What are they?
Let me think about them. Yes, the first, labs and computer equipment are provided only for registered students to do work associated with their courses.
I see. So we have to use our ID card when we get into the lab.
That's right. You should put your student ID card in the holder on top of the monitor and show proper identification if requested to do so. Second, computers are a limited resource shared among many students, so please respect the needs of others. When all computers are in constant use, please limit your session on the computer to an hour at a time.
Can we reserve computers?
I'm sorry, you may not reserve computers. When you leave the lab for a coffee break, you must save your work and make the computer available for another student to use.
I see. Can I bring some drinks there?
Absolutely no food or drink in the labs.
Are there any printers there?
Yes, of course. But remember, when you print, please limit printing to 1 copy of a document. And please do not start printing less than 10 minutes before the lab closes.
Thank you very much. This helps me a lot. English letter writing.
Hi, Lucy. Shall we go to swim after school?
I'd like to, but I have to reply to my English teacher's letter. She has gone to America.
You mean Susan?
Yes.
Why did she go back home? There are still some weeks left before the vacation.
Her father died of cancer a week ago, and so she had to go back for her father's funeral.
I see. I'm sorry to hear that. Lucy, do you have any time now?
Yes, Tom. What can I do for you?
I want to write a letter to my friend Bob. He went back to England yesterday and left his address for me, but I'm not sure how to write it.
Okay. You know, English letter writing is different from Chinese writing. You should write your address in the top right-hand corner and write the date immediately below your address. Today is the 28th of March, 2002, so you should write the date below your address.
That's really so different. We usually write the sender's address at the bottom of the letter, or write it on the left corner of the envelope.
Yes, that's right. Remember, don't write your name before your address.
Where shall I write my name?
You should write it at the end of the letter.
I see.
Then you should write the recipient's name and address on the left-hand side of the page.
So I should write Bob's name and his address on the left-hand side?
Yes, that is the formal way when you write business letters or official letters. But you don't need to write Bob's name and his address in an informal letter.
Okay. What else?
You must use Dear Sir or Dear Madam only when you don't know the person's name.
How do I begin when I write to Bob?
You should use his name directly. In the custom of English letter writing, don't begin with Dear Friend.
I see. After that, I can start my writing. Is that right?
Yes, you should begin the letter on the left-hand side, a little way inside the margin. At the end of your letter, write a short final sentence on a separate line.
What should I write for the last sentence?
Usually, people write like this: I'm looking forward to hearing from you soon, or I hope to hear from you soon. Then end with Yours faithfully if you began with Dear Sir or Madam. In formal letters, if you begin with Dear Mr. X, you should end with Yours sincerely.
I see. Don't use Dear Sir or Madam with Yours sincerely, or Dear Mr. X with Yours faithfully. But what shall I use for Bob's letter?
You can use yours, best wishes, or love in informal letters depending on how well you know the person.
Thank you very much for the help.
With pleasure. I have to go now. See you soon.
Goodbye. About language learning. Hi, Susan. How are you getting on with your English studies?
It's hard. I have been in England for a year, but I still have a lot of problems both in speaking and reading.
Don't worry. You have to be patient and practice them more.
It's very strange, you know, my son Eric, he is only 4, but he seems to learn English much more quickly than I do. Why is this? Why is it easy for young children to learn a language?
That's a good question. I think part of the answer is that children have so many needs. They need to be helped by grown-ups. They have to make their needs known. And they are always watching the effect of what they say and trying new ways of getting what they want. Children are learning new things all the time.
I agree with you. We adults need to learn new things as well, especially when we settle in a foreign country. But it takes us a longer time to get used to a new life than young children. They seem to adapt more quickly.
Yes. Another part of the answer I'd like to point out is that children are not, as older people sometimes are, fixed in their ways of living. When they are taken from one country to another, they change easily from one language to another, from one bed to another, from one food to another. Older people are more fixed in their ways. They have been hearing and talking one language for a long time. Their ways of hearing and making sounds and of putting words together are like the rails a train goes on. They have been up and down their lines of talk and thought too many times to change them easily.
I quite agree with you. A child is freer in his ways. He is more like a bird. He is free to go in any direction he wants. He is free to hear sounds as they are and make them as he hears them. He is free to put new words together in new ways in speaking a new language.
I think that is why they learn things so fast. The more languages you hear and get to know, the more you will see how any language is made up of a small number of sounds put together in different ways. For example, in English, light and right are different words with only one sound in them different. The same is true of long and wrong. If a learner does not hear these different sounds as different, he may get the wrong meaning.
That's true. I have had this kind of problem. 6 months ago, I was asking the way to the station. The man told me to turn to the right, but what I thought he said was to turn at the light, so I tried to find the light. It took me hours to get to the station.
I'm sorry to hear that. You know, most people learn their mother language without being able to give any account at all of how it works. They learn to talk as they learn to walk, without any idea of how they do it. People who learn to use a language well do so through talking with others who use it well, through reading good writers, and through watching the effects on others of what they say and how they say it.
I will try all these. The world needs more people who can use languages well. Language is as necessary to our minds as the air we breathe is to our bodies.
How to take notes.
Today's discussion is on note-taking. Note-taking is one of the important skills for classroom success. There is no one best way to take notes, but your own experience and some suggestions may help you to cope well with university study here. Chris, you start first. How do you take notes when you are in class?
I always keep track of the notes by putting a date and heading on the first page, and numbering pages that follow. And I often make sure to identify the lecture topic and the class in which the lecture takes place. I think this is very important because when you study later, you will be able to match up class notes and textbook notes or assignments on the same topic.
I do the same. I often keep the notes for one class separated from the notes for other classes, so I use separate notebooks for each class.
I use dividers to set aside different sections in one notebook.
I think both of the methods are good. Some students like to use a loose-leaf binder so that lecture notes, textbook notes, and the instructor's handout may be taken out of it and reorganized for study purposes.
That's a good idea, to use a loose-leaf binder. I will buy one for my note-taking. I like to use a ballpoint pen for taking notes.
So do I, but I prefer to use blue or black ones because the other colors, such as red or green, are hard on the eyes.
It's a good idea to use a ballpoint pen because pencils fade easily, and a pen sometimes blurs and soaks through the paper.
My handwriting is poor, so I often print the notes for clarity after class.
That's a very good way to do it. It's very important to make your notes clear to read because you may use them for your essay.
I often use standard abbreviations in my notes in order to speed up note-taking. For example, intro for introduction, info for information, dept for department.
This is one way to speed up your writing. You can also make up some of your own words or phrases that you use often. Make a key for your abbreviations so you won't forget what they mean.
Okay, I will try next time.
I often copy anything that is written on the board or on overhead transparencies into my notes because I find test questions often come from material that is presented in these ways.
Really? I hadn't noticed that.
I think you'd better organize your notes after class. Try to summarize the points in your own words. It will be easier for you to remember your notes.
That is a good suggestion.
Another suggestion is that you should review your notes to fill in gaps while the information is still fresh in your mind. The purpose of taking notes is to help you remember information.
When I seem to be missing something, I often compare notes with my classmate or see the instructor.
That's the way to do it. Thank you very much for your time. I think new students may use and adapt some of your good methods for note-taking into their own study.